name is Nicole Rudolph. I am 47 years old. My husband is Alan Rudolph. He is the offensive line coach at Ohio University.
I interviewed my mother not only for myself, but also for others who may not know what the football world is like. We all assume it is just a game, but there is never a thought taken into consideration about life beyond football.
We have been to 11 different universities, moving about 14 times. It never gets easier. It was a lot easier when our girls were younger. As they got older and they became friends and started forming those strong friendship bonds, it got a little harder. You know, when late fall comes around and November comes around, everybody gets nervous and everybody gets anxious to see whether we're going to stay or whether we're going to take our journey otherwise. We've always been led by God. We've always used faith as our determination whether we move or not. We always are ready to move wherever God needs us next.
Moving so many times is a struggle for most everyone. Moving 14 times is outrageous and can only be done by strong-willed, open-hearted people like my mother. In a sense, it's almost like she and other coaches' wives aren't just married to their significant other, but also the game. I asked my mom if that was the case and if she knew her life was going to be like this beforehand.
Yes, I did. Being that I worked in the football office, I was quite aware of, what all that entails and what my life was going to be like. We met when I was a sophomore in college, and he was a graduate assistant at Nicholls State University, and I was the student employee in the football office. I have been married for 25 years.
My mom knew what she was getting herself into, and she never shies away from it. 25 years of being the best coach's wife takes a village. My mom describes her responsibilities that she takes on that most may not ever know take place.
Well, I do winning bread pudding on day 4 of practice. If they won the game the Saturday before, they get a giant pan of bread pudding. They enjoy that. The day before the games in the morning, they get brownies. And we tend to have them over quite a bit for gumbo and barbecues, and just to have them in our home means everything to me.
As much time as she puts into this life she lives, it has its ups and downs. I asked her what she felt her greatest reward was in contrast to the hard parts that sadly are a part of this profession.
So I think the greatest reward is going through the entire process of meeting the young men during the recruiting process. We go along to the recruiting dinners, we meet their families, we get to know them, and then watching them grow not only as a football player, but into great young men.
As I grew up, and even now, I rely on most of my mom. When I was younger, I hardly remember seeing my dad unless I went to an event of his. I wasn't the only one who felt this way.
I think the biggest challenge for me was raising children. The hours are grueling, and most of the time when my kids were little, when they woke up in the morning, their dad was gone. He was already at work before the sun came up. And if I did not take them over to the football office or practice, they wouldn't see their dad all day because he would come home basically after they went to bed. So being that single mom per se was the biggest challenge for me.
I adore my father. He is the hardest worker I know, and I aspire to be like him. He knows exactly how to balance out being a present dad, but also staying on top of his work. This made me want to talk with my mom about how she copes with the times that my dad is not home.
I will admit, at the beginning, when my kids were little, I didn't handle it very well. It took me being around other great women that are coaches' wives to help build me up and be that family away from family that I needed. It is now the point in time in my life where I am not a young coach's wife anymore, and my kids are growing and graduating from high school and college, and so it's a reward. It's kind of rewarding that I'm going to be that mentor to other coaches' wives to help them get through the rough times.
Although there are downsides to the football life, having one heck of a coach's wife as your mom makes it all worth it. Bringing awareness to the behind the scenes of this crazy life is my main goal. So many people don't know what it's like, and all they see is a game. But my mom has seen further than the game ever since she's been married to it, and I wish others would see that too.